Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to Loddon Valley, where it's a clash between third and fourth in the NBL1 table. It's the hometown Reading Rockets taking on the visiting Hemel Storm. John Hobbs, Ben Fisher joining you here on Mother's Day, and a happy Mother's Day to you all wherever you are. And Ben, it's going to be a very intriguing encounter. Reading, of course, winning 2 games last week, returning to Rivermead, and then, of course, home comfort at Loddon Valley against the Thames Valley Cavaliers. For Hemel, probably one of the games of the season last night against Derby Trailblazers. Veronese with a last-second winner for the Storm. They need to obviously continue their push towards a title, really, haven't they, with a win today?
Absolutely, and it's been brilliant to see that early season, you know, Hemel were seen as not unbeatable, but, you know, you can't not mention the return of Taylor Johnson, who has been a magnificent addition to an already really strong roster, and obviously with Darian Nelson-Henry coming in and adding some experience in the front court as well. Yeah, they're definitely title challengers, and what an upset, you could say, last night, with Derby seemingly looking as if they were going to run away with the NBL Division 1. So yeah, I can't wait for this evening. It's going to be a great encounter.
Absolutely, and for Reading as well, looking to push on for a top 4 spot. We're going to do the teams, starting with the visiting Hemel Storm. And you mentioned Taylor Johnson, Darian Nelson-Henry, but also Sam Newman, not to be snuffed at either.
Sam Newman has been such an influence on this Hemel team for the last couple of seasons. He really is the catalyst because he runs the team. His court vision is outstanding. He's defending a lot better this season, I feel, and he's also a really good scorer when needed. So, yeah, Sam Newman is one of the top players in the league, and it certainly provides that balance to the Hemel Storm. With, you know, they've got great interior players now with coverage. Obviously, great players on from the wing. And at the lead guard spot as well. So yeah, he's done a great job.
Absolutely, and for the hometown Reading Rockets, of course, as we've just mentioned, vying for a top 4 spot. They're in 4th at the moment, and Mitch Clark, a danger man for the Rockets, but also as well, Reese Pinnock, Jemiah Jenkins, a lot of firepower there.
There is a lot of firepower. It's whether that firepower can produce all at the same time and on the same day. Obviously, last game against the Thames Valley Cavaliers, the Rockets shooting 21 from 31 from beyond the arc. An incredible shooting night. But yeah, Rockets with a bit of illness in the camp this week. Reese Pinnock and Elijah Maynard both have been sick in bed up until today. So it looks like both will be starting the game, but it'll be interesting to see how they can perform under their illness.
Absolutely. Starting 5s for today's game for the hometown Rockets: Mitch Clark, Reese Pinnock, Jemiah Jenkins, Elijah Maynard, and Christian Alexander. For the Hemel Storm, it's Brendan Inger, Sam Newman, Darian Nelson-Henry, Taylor Johnson, and Tez Allen. Today's match officials: crew chief Daniel Cox, umpires John Letitia and Luke Doe. So happy Mother's Day wherever you are across the country. And hopefully we will give you a barnstorming game. Top of the table clash between 3rd and 4th. Nelson-Henry and Alexander tipping us off, and we are underway here at Loddon Valley. Of course, Reading returned to Rivermead last week as Nelson-Henry gets the first score of the game under the basket, where they edged to a victory over London Elite, and then returned back here on Sunday and ran rampant against Thames Valley. 104.63. And a steal there from Johnson off the pass from Alexander, and Pinnock steals it right back. Scrappy sequence there as Maynard goes for a corner three and hits.
Yeah, nice from Elijah Maynard. Good defense again from the Rockets. Reece Pinnock finding him in transition, he knocks down the free ball.
Maynard, who was 8 for 12 in the win over Thames Valley from downtown last week, as Newman, who was struggling last night from downtown, hits his first three-pointer.
But that's what he can do, as we just talked about. Excellent three-point shooter, and that's not something the Rockets need to give up in those second chance opportunities.
And another steal. Newman this time with the steal, dumps it off to Nelson Henry, who lays it in. Fast transition basketball and 2 quick turnovers for the Rockets.
Yeah, and you can see that's not going to please Coach Nurizadeh. One of his key things is the Rockets taking care of the basketball.
Alexander looking for Clark. Inga with the defense. 6 to shoot for Mitch Clark. Nice inside pass to Jenkins, who goes out, fades away, and is short with his 7-footer. And away comes Newman again. Inga, a three, splash. Great start here from the Hemel Storm.
Certainly is, and you can just already see the firepower that the Storm have and that have added to their roster this season. Phenomenal start by the visitors to Reading.
4 from 5 from the field for the Storm. Alexander backing down Nelson Henry. Nelson Henry really got a finger to that. And Alexander with the miss under the basket. And again, the Hemel Storm break through. Newman finds Johnson, who was on fire last night against Derby Trailblazers. Nelson Henry dumps it off, and that'll go out of bounds. 5 on the shot clock for the Storm.
Yeah, misses at the rim and turnovers hurting the Rockets so far. Really interesting matchup though between Mitch Clark and Taylor Johnson. That's definitely going to be one to watch out for this evening.
Inside, Tez Allen misses the love. Inside layup, away comes Clark. And it was a bit of a risky bounce pass, really. And the ball goes out of bounds. But another turnover from the Rockets. That's turnover number 3. And we've not even played 3 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And although the Rockets trying to play in transition seem to be playing a little bit loose at the moment. So that's something they'll definitely need to tidy up.
Nelson Henry. Allen. That's long with his 3, and here is Clark. Clark looking to produce some magic, and he hits from downtown.
Yeah, going under the pick and roll on Mitch Clark. Not the greatest idea, one of Rockets' best shooters.
Inside Nelson Henry. He thought he was fouled by Reece Pinnock, but here comes Maynard. Maynard loses the ball. He was caught in 2 minds. And now Nelson Henry dumps it off. Clark and Newman gets it back, and Nelson Henry scores. Good transition basketball there from the Storm.
Yeah, it was indeed, but it's been a horrible start for the Rockets in terms of turnovers. Some really simple ones that is causing Coach Nurizadeh to be very vocal on the sideline, and almost the same thing happens again.
Absolutely, nearly another steal there. Some real ball security issues from the Rockets as Veronese prepares to check in for the Hemel Storm. Veronese, last season of the Worthing Thunder, now first season with the Storm, and had that game winner against Derby last night that really blew the house off the Hemel Hempstead Leisure Centre. Clark, 6 to shoot for Mitch Clark. Good defense from Tez Allen, but the follow from Alexander.
Yeah, certainly what the Rockets are going to need is second chance opportunities.
Oh, backcourt violation has been called. That's something you don't see every day, as Sam Newman caught there, as Brandon Inga Tez Allen will take a seat. Jack Burnell coming into the game for the first time. Now the longest tenured Hemel Storm player.
Yes, and I still maintain one of the best shooters
absolutely
in Division 1. Jack Burnell has been a fantastic player for the Storm over recent years.
Clark nearly stolen away again by Newman, but he still has it. Taylor comes up with the loose ball and the foul at mid-court. Right now, though, it's very scrappy from the Reading Rockets. A lot of turnovers, a lot of broken offenses. Just need to calm themselves down, get into their sets a bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Storm are doing a good job getting under their skin early on, and certainly in the passing lanes. And the Rockets have just got to read that. It's all about what the other team's trying to do and just reacting to that.
3 for 7 early doors from the field as Inga gets it off his own miss. Jenkins again. Sam Newman, energetic as always, nearly got the ball again, but it goes out of bounds. Reading will have 18 to shoot. Pinnock. Isaac Round into the game, elbow jumper. And that's off the back iron and off the glass. Here is Newman. Burnell travelled with it.
Should have just shot it, John.
Yeah. Well, he was thinking about it, but got caught in two minds as Zach Powell and Christian Alexander come back in. Cavell Hawes and Darian Nelson-Henry come in for the Hemel Storm. Cavell Hawes seeing a lot more minutes this season for the Storm, part of that quadruple winning, unbeatable team last season, product of the City of London Academy. Clark, step back jumper. Taylor Johnson now will start the transition, going at Powell, and a foul has been called as Veronese's two-handed dunk won't count.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the Storm doing a really good job on Rockets screen-to-screen or offense, switching everything, and the Rockets are just finding it a little bit difficult to punish the switch at the minute.
Taylor Johnson, who returned in the new year to the Storm from his spell with the Plymouth City Patriots, and has been more than a welcome addition back to Hemel. Here he is on the ball now. Nelson-Henry over two Reading players, and they stand their ground. Away comes Round. Clark again deflected, but gets the loose ball again, and Mitch Clark will go to the foul line.
Yeah, Clark saw a passing lane to Alexander, didn't quite execute it there, but you know, he's very tenacious, got his own rebound, got fouled, and I think that's probably the best outcome the Rockets could have hoped for there. 2 shots to come.
As Mitch Clark makes the first. And makes the second as well.
Lewis Champion into the game for the Rockets.
Absolutely, yeah. Lewis Champion, who had 12 points last week against London Elite, struggled from the field actually, 3 for 10, as Taylor Johnson gets his first 3 to fall.
Certainly does, he kind of pushed Zach Powell out of the way to get open there and made the 3.
Champion responds in kind with a long 2.
Yeah, Lewis Champion is definitely going to need to step up for the Rockets today if they've got any chance of coming out of this game with a positive result.
Here is Hawes putting the moves on Clark. Nelson-Henry finds a bit of room and connects.
Nelson-Henry with a trademark BBL elbow jumper, I would say.
Here is Powell. 3:29 remaining. Hemel leading 19-12. Zach Powell beats Hawes for the offensive board. Alexander. Clark gets a bit of room inside, and there's the floater from Powell.
Much better from the Rockets. Great off-ball movement. Great drive from Mitch Clark on the baseline, and Zach Powell cutting down the gut gets it to go for two.
Hawes. 10 to shoot for Hemel. And the pass from Nelson Henry intended for Taylor Johnson, asking a bit too much of the Hemel number 12. And we've seen Nelson Henry shoot a few three-pointers in his time from that range. Decided to dump it off, but it goes out of bounds. Gap is 5 to the visitors, as Powell couldn't quite hang on to it.
Yeah, those type of turnovers are just infuriating for the coaching staff there. Rockets with good defense the last time out, you know, fronting the inside, having to make that pass as tough as possible. As the main man at the moment for the Storm, Taylor Johnson, checks out the game.
Newman. Nelson Henry putting the moves on Alexander. The up and under is no good. And away comes Clark. The lob, the finish by Zach Powell.
What a play there from Clark and Powell.
And the other way, blocked by Alexander. Powell, what a sequence that was.
Crazy scenes here at the Valley, and it's a one-point ball game, John.
Stellar defense from Alexander. Ezzy, a three from the corner, splash.
That's what the Storm do so well, though. Even if there's a small run against them, they always make a big play.
Clark, 12 to shoot. Powell, a three, and he gets it to go. Both teams feeling it.
What a first quarter we're being treated to here. Good ball movement again by the Rockets.
Nelson Henry under the hoop. Powell rebounds. And the whistle is gone as the noise here at London Valley intensifies. And we're only in the first quarter.
Yeah, it's certainly hot in here already as Nelson Henry picks up a technical foul there. He's been pretty disgruntled with a couple of no calls for him. And unfortunately, his reaction has earned him a tech. And I struggle with those ones. I think the players are allowed to have some sort of frustration, but
absolutely.
I do understand.
Especially with the intensity and how aggressive both teams have been, especially in the last minute and a half. As Mitch Clark goes to the foul line, a 77% foul shooter, leading the way with 17.2 points. Again, 20 points in the win against London Elite, where Reading returned to an incredibly different-looking Rivermead Leisure Centre.
That's because it was a new building, John. It wasn't the old concrete floor, as many listeners, I'm sure, will be thinking, thank goodness that's changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks very impressive, Rivermead, but home comforts here at Loddon Valley now as Mitch Clark goes for three, gets it to go.
Yeah, you can tell Mitch Clark has definitely come to play this evening. There's a real threat from beyond the arc, and Rockets with a lead.
Johnson off the feed from Newman.
Yeah, that's the second time they've run that offense. That little flare screen, which negates any backside help from the Rockets fronting the post. And because Johnson was chased off it, he just curled and they got it layup for two.
Gap is one. Rockets have a slender lead. Alexander. Round did well to collect that ball. It was deflected. The extra pass to Powell for three. Gets it to go. Shot clock is off, so Hemel will get the final shot of the first quarter. away as Johnson goes from the top and he gets it. Final seconds. Champion. And that one go was a very entertaining first quarter comes to a close. And the Reading Rockets lead 28-27, but absolutely enthralling basketball.
Yeah, an incredible amount of points scored already. 55 points to open up the game. Both teams shooting the ball well, but both teams making some defensive mistakes, allowing their opponents to punish them, and that's what they've certainly done. The only worry I have is for the Rockets is can they keep this scoring up? I think that the Storm on paper have more firepower, so they're going to have to defend better, I would say, to give them a little bit more offense in transition, because that's where they're strongest. But yeah, it's going to be an intriguing game, John. What a start.
Absolutely. Mitch Clark with 9 points. Zach Powell leading the way with 12 off the bench. 5 of 5 from the field for Reading Rockets' own general, as Darian Nelson-Henry and Taylor Johnson both have 8 points to lead the way for the Hemel Storm. Both teams shooting 55% from the field, so yeah, a lot of entertainment, and especially in that final 2 minutes, there was a lot of action going on there.
I would say to you, John, that you know, I think both teams are really in the groove at this stage of the season, and that's when you want to be playing your best basketball, and I think that's a testament to Coach Clark and to Coach Nurizade. I think both of them do a really good job getting their teams to play their best basketball kind of towards the end of the season, heading into the postseason. So it's not a surprise in that respect, but it will be interesting to see what, if any, defensive adjustments both coaches make.
28-27 heading into the second period here at Loddon Valley. I must ask you, Ben, we touched a little bit on the return of the Reading Rockets to Rivermead. How has the venue changed? Apart from the floor, of course.
Well, it's not as cold. That was always a complaint from pretty much everybody that ever visited Rivermead, so there was heating in there. I mean, look, it's nice. It's unfortunately, it's not got as many seats as here, so that's why we had to move away from that venue. But it's nice to have another venue like that in Reading, and hopefully we can just keep growing bigger and better.
Wild pass from Powell, but it finds Champion. They spin the ball around Powell in the corner. That's his first miss on his 6th attempt, and nearly gets the steal from Newman, but Newman still has it. Here is Nelson-Henry over Alexander, and Powell rebounds. Rebound number 4 for Zach Powell. But his pass finds nobody but Matthew Dizu. Newman. Nelson-Henry. No good, gets his own rebound, no blocked, but a bit too much contact there. Elijah Maynard got the block. The foul will be on Christian Alexander, who is the other Reading player there, as Veronese prepares to check back in for the Storm.
Yeah, pretty tough call, I think, there for Christian Alexander. I'm not entirely sure what he did too much wrong, but what I would say is the Storm have come out with a little bit of zone defense just to change things up, and has forced the Rockets into another 2 early turnovers, and are continuing to go inside to Nelson-Henry, which I think is a good ploy for them.
Well, Nelson-Henry, who won multiple British Basketball League championships with the Leicester Riders before retiring, and then coming back to action here with the Storm. He's joined the Storm just after Christmas.
Yeah, what an incredibly successful player.
Absolutely.
At the BBL level, huh? I mean,
1000%.
Did a fantastic job with the Leicester Riders, and I think he left a big hole when he retired.
Well, they always get the itch to come back. Several players have actually made returns, Nelson-Henry being one. Still holding out hope for Danny Carter to come back to Reading, apparently. Sorry, Danny, if you're watching.
He's already tried once. But what an interesting question that would be. Who's your favourite retired player that came back out of retirement to play?
Well, Nelson, Champion blocked by Dizu. I'll come back to you in a second. But he's scrambling to keep the ball as Reece Pinnock, there's a scramble now at mid-court. Inga has it. And Champion has it back. That was a scrappy bit of offense at both ends as Dizu with another block on Champion. Fans didn't like that. They wanted a foul.
And my only comment is junior basketball at its best. That's what it felt like in that moment.
Coming from someone who's just come back from a junior game, an under-16 game. As Pinnock has it. It's getting chippy at the top of the NBL1 table as there's 6 on the shot clock for Clark. Maynard a 3, that's short, and Ezzy with the rebound. And both teams really chipping away offensively, not getting much to go as Brendan Inga with the 3.
Yeah, Brendan Inga is not afraid to shoot the ball in transition, and my goodness me, he does a good job of it.
Pinnock. Here is Champion, the extra pass, Pinnock wide, open for 3.
Yeah, Reece Pinnock's been shooting the ball very well recently. He was 5 from 6 last time out against the Thames Valley Cavaliers. And, sorry, John, I was just going to say, and makes another with the Rockets who have been struggling against the zone early in this second quarter.
Well, Pinnock, a 43% three-point shooter this season for the Rockets. Has really improved on his shooting over the last 3 or 4 years as well. Been mainly known as a defensive threat as Sam Newman cheekily hits it off Reece Pinnock's back and gets the score.
A veteran play, some might say, but great vision again from Sam Newman to get the cheek on for 2.
And a whistle has gone. There's John Letitia calls the foul on Matthew Dizu. That'll be his first foul.
I feel like the rhythm of the game was going well. I'm really hoping the officials don't kind of interrupt that. I think both teams are doing really good in that sense.
Just need to execute a bit better at both ends, really, as Jenkins, who's been quiet thus far. Maynard, 5 on the shot clock. Maynard pulls up, and that's long. And Taylor Johnson tips it out of bounds. He wanted to continue on, but the ball goes out of bounds, and Reading will have the ball back, fresh 14, as Tez Allen will check back in for the Hemel Storm. And Matthew Dizu will take a seat for the visitors. 31-34 in favour of Hemel, with just over 3 minutes played, as Clark misses the 3 from the corner. As Inga short, way short with his 3-pointer from the wing. Pinnock. And ball goes out of bounds. It was actually touched last by Round, but Coach Nurizade protesting that didn't come off Round last. In fact, a group of Reading players coming over towards the officials who give the team bench a warning.
Yes, I think that was, I mean, from where we're sat, John, for me, that was quite a clear deflection.
Yeah.
Mr. T. Johnson is fully aware of that, but the call's gone the other way. But I think more to the point is the Rockets' turnovers again early in this second quarter. That's what Coach Nurizade is going to need to chat to his guys about now, and trying to negate the zone. It's interesting that both teams, although I see Nelson Henry now back on the Hemel bench, both teams without a recognised big on the floor at the moment. Obviously, with Finn Porter out for the Rockets, they only have Christian Alexander as a pure out-and-out 5. So, you know, it's Maynard and Round having to fill the inside spots as well. So that's the challenge for the Rockets. They really have to shoot well in order to be able to stay in the game in this part, I would say.
Reading trailing by 3 with 6:27 remaining, and it's interesting you mentioned turnovers, 7 turnovers for the Rockets, but Hemel as well, 5 turnovers, so it's not quite as clear-cut, but you know, Reading's turnover count really grew in the very early stages of the first quarter, so they've done quite well to protect the ball since the first 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, John. I would say I think it's the type of turnover that is most concerning for Coach Nurizade.
Johnson to Nelson Henry inside. Beautiful feed from Taylor Johnson.
Yes, and that's what Nelson Henry and Johnson do, work together really well, having to help off of each other.
Jenkins for 3. And Jeremiah Jenkins, who is struggling thus far, he's only taken 2 field goal attempts, missed them both.
Yeah, he's found it, 3-point shots hard to come by in recent weeks, so he'll be looking to get going.
Ezzy, 3, and that's in and out. But Johnson again collects the loose ball and he has it back. And good defense there from Maynard to tip it out, but Hemel will get the ball back, but 8 to shoot.
Taylor Johnson is just one of those guys that's everywhere. The ball always falls for him.
Hasn't missed thus far. 3 for 3 from the field. 3 rebounds, 2 assists. And a whistle has gone, so don't think Nelson Henry's 3 will count.
Yeah, for me, the whistle went before the 3 was delivered, but you just never know.
Well, we'll wait and see. The referees are just conferring something, so we'll see what's going on. While we're kept in the dark, our crew chief Daniel Cox, umpires John Letitia, Luke Doe. And we'll see what's going on here. The 3 will actually count. And a few of the Reading fans really not happy with that. Well, I thought this 3 happened way after the whistle had gone, but...
Yes.
I'm not a referee, so I'm going to plead the 5th as Tez Allen goes inside and another whistle has gone.
Yeah, I think it's that's a really tough one, isn't it? When somebody makes a 3 and a foul is called, the Storm converted 5 points.
Absolutely, and a timeout has been called by Coach Nurizade, and the Hemel Storm have raced out to a 10-point lead with 5:24 remaining in a second quarter that has really been very scrappy, very broken, stop-start. Nothing like what the first quarter was, which was exciting, thrilling, very entertaining, a lot of highlight plays.
Yes, and I think that's mainly down to 2 things. First of all, the Storm coming out in different defense and holding the Rockets to just 3 points in the first 4.5 minutes of this second quarter. And the second thing is Rockets just either turning the ball over or not, or struggling to convert, but they've made some lapses at the defensive end. I mean, the Storm have already scored 14 points in the opening exchanges of this second quarter. So, yeah, it's a tough one for the Rockets. Are finding themselves down 10.
And that's another thing, a 14-3 start to this second period from the Hemel Storm has really broken the game up. Hemel, who actually lead NBL1 in points per game at 97.4. Reading way behind in 87.3. However, Reading have been getting victories this season, and that's what's led them to a potential top 4 finish. And Hemel, who beat Derby Trailblazers, the league leaders, last night, and that obviously gives the Essex Rebels a bit of a breather as well, bit of a relief, as they lost obviously last week but got the win against Nottingham last night.
And how good is it at the top of NBL Division 1?
Absolutely.
Great to see 3 teams battling it out for sure.
And we'll just tell you what's going to happen next week as Alexander with the 2-hand flush.
And you have to say, great job, Coach Nurizade out of timeout. Always really positive with his guys.
Ezzy. Newman. Johnson, great off-ball movement from the Storm. Tez Allen driving at Clark. Allen, a turnaround, there's money.
Yes, certainly Tez Allen and Brandon Inga have done a really good job since arriving to the Storm this year.
Alexander. Maynard, a three, and that goes.
Wow. You don't often see him spin around the ring and drop, but obviously the shooting gods are looking down on Elijah Maynard tonight.
Well, they've been looking down on Reading all season, second in the league in three-pointers as Tez Allen answers back. Only Derby Trailblazers average more than the Rockets this season. Alexander inside, gets it to go.
Yeah, that's positive for the Rockets because they really do need to have that inside-outside balance.
3:45 remaining in the second as the ball goes out of bounds. Johnson fell to the floor.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that Taylor Johnson has done in his entire NBL Division I career.
Absolutely.
His back cut, because defenders having to defend him so close because of his perimeter threat.
One of the best off-ball movers in British basketball, it must be said, Taylor Johnson. We saw it as well during his time with the Plymouth City Patriots. Alexander inside, that's too easy.
Yeah, good offense from the Rockets, finishing with the pick and roll to the outside of the top of the zone and allowing a 2v1 inside with Clark and Alexander.
Alexander now 4 of 5 from the field, very efficient from the floor. Newman putting the moves on Pinnock. Inside it goes, and the finish from Inga. And Sam Newman, who last night had 11 points and 12 assists against the Trailblazers.
Excellent patience from the Storm there as well. Great off-ball movement, as you said.
And another two-hand flush from Alexander. A lot of inside movement there, leading to easy scores for the Rockets as Hemel coach Mark Clark calls a timeout with 2:51 remaining, and it's a 6-point lead for the Storm.
Certainly is. It's catch your breath time, isn't it? I mean, great offenses from both teams, but both coaches tearing their hair out in terms of defense. And you can see that the Rockets are finding some success now on the interior, whilst the Storm are doing a really good job still moving the basketball, being patient, and stretching the floor with the shooters that they've got on the floor. So, yeah, it doesn't show any signs of slowing down, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, both teams are, average a lot of points. Obviously, we mentioned that the Hemel lead the league in points per game and Reading lead the league in three-point percentage. Both teams in the 17 and 19 games they played, Rockets playing 19, Hemel playing 17, have averaged just about the same for points totaled. 1,655 for Hemel, 1,658 for Reading, so it's fairly even, really, even though there's a two-game differential.
And entertaining, I'd say, John.
Yeah.
Really good. I mean, it's certainly something that I think, as obviously knowing more about the Rockets, Coach Nurizade's worked really hard with his team on. I think that both coaches will be a little frustrated with the defensive output at the moment. But, both teams, as we said, shooting the ball really, really well, and sometimes you have to, 1 second left, challenge shot, you have to give the other team that and crack on.
Well, next week will be the Kit King Trophy final from Loughborough, and Loughborough Riders against Essex Rebels will be our NBL Live game. Before that, on the Basketball England YouTube channel, as Nelson Henry goes inside. So 2 enthralling encounters next Saturday night from Loughborough University. Jenkins, 7 on the shot clock, feeds it to Alexander. And the steal from Inga, and away comes Allen. Here's Johnson, pulls up, blocked by Pinnock. Jenkins. Very lethargic offense from Hemel on that one, as Reece Pinnock with a relatively easy steal. Here is Jenkins, mismatch there. And another mismatch with Alexander and Johnson. Jenkins travels with it. And that's an opportunity lost. There was two mismatches there for Reading and they couldn't take advantage.
Yeah, the Rockets failing to punish the switch, but they're going inside each time and obviously doubling Alexander, and Alexander's finding it tough to find because there's not a lot of weak side action when the ball goes in.
Nelson Henry backing down Alexander. It's been a great matchup between these two so far, and Nelson Henry gets the upper hand and he'll get a warning for touching the ball on the way down. Obviously he forgot that when he came back to action.
He's very hot on that in Division 1.
Aren't they just?
But I would say, like, just watching Darren Nelson Henry is definitely the best back to the basket player that is currently in Division 1, I think.
Absolutely, and you know, he reads the play so well, and obviously when you have several years of playing alongside or playing under Rob Paternostro for the Leicester Riders, you're going to pick up a few things, aren't you? As he now does with the Hemel Storm. Jenkins at the top, gets it to go.
Yeah, that's a big shot for Jamar Jenkins. As we say, he's been a bit devoid of three-point shots.
First points of the game as Johnson battles his way inside. Bit of muscle with the hustle for Taylor Johnson.
I haven't heard that expression for a long time, but I love it.
Inside, Christian Alexander blows the layup. And here comes Newman. Three-pointer on the way is good for Brandon Inga. 40.4 seconds to go in the second. Timeout, Coach Nurizadeh, and Hemel have raced out to a 12-point lead. And for Reading, what a sucker punch that three-pointer was.
Indeed, and Coach Nurizadeh fuming because he felt there was a goaltend at that end. But again, it's what the Hemel Storm do. If you lose any type of concentration, they're going to punish you, and especially from beyond the arc. And I think that's the beauty of having such a roster, because with many people able to shoot the ball as well as they do, it stretches the floor so much. So it's such tough coverage, and when you're making threes like the Storm are currently, it's really tough. It's only a 12-point game, with the Storm having scored 57.
And Hemel shooting a sublime 62% as well from the field. 9 of 14 from downtown. They were struggling last night from deep against Derby, 6 of 26, so they've found their feet away from home.
They've saved it, John, haven't they? They've saved it for us, which is so kind.
Well, when it comes to three-point percentages, as we mentioned, Reading second in NBL Division 1. You can take a nice little guess if you want as to who is third. That's the Hemel Storm. So both teams fairly accurate from deep.
Well, it's going to be interesting here, 12-point game. If the Rockets can get it under 10 going into the half, I think that'll be a good kind of short momentum swinger. We've probably got 3 possessions left if Rockets go 2 for 1 here.
Well, they should really go 2 for 1 if they're smart with it, as Alexander dumps it to Maynard. Clark. The Wizard of Oz looking to put the moves on Burnell. Shot clock at 5. Jenkins for 3. Was off balance when he took that, but he has made those types of threes before. Shot clock is off. And Sam Newman, the veteran, will hold for the last shot of the half. Dancing on Jenkins. Good defense from Maynard. And that'll do the first half in a very scrappy second quarter, but Hemel are on top. They lead 57-45, shooting over 60% from the field. But Reading, they've shot over 50% in their own right. So, a lot of positives there. But for Coach Nurizadeh, it's like you mentioned at the midway point of the second, controlling the turnovers and how they can actually lead to points for the Hemel Storm. Hemel have scored 10 points off those Reading turnovers.
Absolutely, turnovers, which ultimately leads to the Storm playing in transition, which they're really good, and second chance opportunities as well. I think those are the things that the Rockets will be having to talk about during the half-time interval, as well as you know, just what's happening away from the ball, because I think there's some really nice offense that the Storm are running, but I think the Rockets can probably do a bit better job in terms of making the other people shoot the ball rather than where the Storm want to get the ball to. But yeah, what a half of basketball it's been.
Absolutely. Zach Powell leading the way with 12 points for the Rockets on 5 for 6 shooting. Christian Alexander, who made his first 4 shots, his first 5 shots, excuse me, settling for 5 for 7 from the field for his 10. Leading all scorers, though, the impressive Darian Nelson-Henry with 19 points. Taylor Johnson adding 10, and Brendan Inga with 13. So a good half from the Hemel Storm. Final thoughts before we go into the break?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of you know, scoring output from the Storm, you can see that they're probably one of the best in the league in terms of the offensive powerhouses that they have. And that's going to be something that the Rockets have got to work on disrupting in this second half. They don't need to panic, they need to chip away, but they certainly do need to get some defensive stops and just make some adjustments so that the Storm are not playing against the same defensive lineup every single time. But yeah, it should be a fantastic second half, and I'll be interested to see if we can gain on the 17 three-pointers already scored in the game.
It's been high scoring, both teams second and third in three-point percentage, so a lot of three-point attempts will go up and go in, and it is half-time. It's Reading Rockets 45, Hemel Storm 57. We'll be back in roughly 10 minutes' time.
So I managed to have Lewis Champion join me at half-time. Lewis, tough first half, 57 points to 45. What's been said in the locker room at half-time?
We're just making a lot of bad mistakes. A lot of adjustment mistakes, but just silly ones. We need to correct them in the second half to give ourselves a chance to get back into the game and win the game.
Defensively, what sort of adjustments do you think you can make? Obviously, they've got the Storm have got a real interior threat in Nelson Henry, but obviously the perimeter threat from Taylor Johnson and that brigade. What do you feel can be changed for the team?
I mean, they've got a lot of weapons, but we have to adjust. So we have to make sure that we may have to go and double Nelson Henry at some times, not leaving their shooters open, helping up guys that we believe can't shoot as well as others. But adjustments have to be made for us to be able to come out here now and close this gap and get it close.
Bit of illness in the camp during this week. How do you feel that's affected preparation, if at all?
Yeah, it's been a tough week. I mean, it's always hard when you kind of have, in one day's practice we have like 14 guys, another day we have 9 guys. It's tough with the ups and downs, but I mean, we have to, something we have to do and we have to deal with, and hopefully we can come out here and get this W today.
Awesome. Well, all the best for the second half. Good luck.
Cheers.
Reece, tough first half, 57 points conceded. What's the plan for the second half?
Stop them from scoring the ball would be a good start. Yeah, we just need to fix our transition defense, stop the turnovers, because offense is fine. Like 45 for us and a half is a good outing, but giving up 57 is unacceptable. So yeah.
And personally, how are you feeling? I know you've been ill pretty much all of this week, feeling pretty rough, I'm sure. But how are you fixed for the second half?
Yeah, I'm giving my all as I always do, and hopefully it's enough to get it over the head.
Awesome. Appreciate you joining us. Good luck for the second half. If we have a quick interview, just is that all right? So I'm here with Tez Allen. Tez, really good first half for you guys, 57 points. It's a pretty good outing so far.
Yeah, it's we kind of wanted to get a good start just because played last night, so try to get a good start, keep the flow through the game. So it's been good. We're shooting it well, got a lot of shooters, so just spread the ball and let it fly, really.
Any adjustments you want to make in the second half? Obviously conceding 45, not ideal, and that could be something that troubles you in the second half. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. Very high scoring. They got a lot of good players as well. Shoot a lot of threes, so we kind of try to run them off, but then they got the big guys. So I think just keep the intensity up, be physical, and we didn't have very many fouls, so I think we can up the intensity a little bit.
And just quickly, your first season in England, how are you enjoying it so far?
It's going great, man. It's going great. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm happy I'm here with Hemel. It's a lot of good group of guys, and just enjoying it, trying to push for these playoffs and see what happens.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much for joining us.
Man.
Good luck with the second half.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With Newcastle in 5th, they won our 4th place. So a very, very important game.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Loddon Valley, where the hometown Reading Rockets trail the visiting Hemel Storm 57-45 here in a battle between 3rd and 4th. Reading, of course, winning 2 games last Saturday at home, one at Rivermead, one here at Loddon Valley, and Hemel last night getting a big win over the league-leading Derby Trailblazers, and looking for a double win weekend to end Mother's Day, as John Hobbs and Ben Fisher keeping you company here today in the heart of Berkshire. And Ben, what do you think Reading have to do to shrink this deficit and really make life difficult for the Storm?
Well, it was interesting. I spoke to a couple of players at half-time, and I think one of the things is making... Hemel have got so many weapons, but it's trying to make the primary weapons not take as many shots, and just make them have to play in the half court and make them have to counteract many defensive actions. So I think that's certainly something that the Rockets need to do, is kind of slow the game down in the half court. But it's going to be a difficult task. I mean, you know, this is an excellent team, but you know, the Rockets have the capability. They can chip away. We saw some runs in that first half as well. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting opening sort of 4 or 5 minutes to this half.
And we start the 3rd period here at Loddon Valley as Taylor Johnson getting the pass, a good pass from Newman, and the first points of the 3rd go to Taylor Johnson.
Yes, nice action there. Almost looked like a Ricky action, but Johnson decided to reject the screen and go back door and play against Alexander.
The extra pass to Jenkins. Misses the 2. That was Zach Powell, my apologies, as Brendan Inga has it, and a steal by Zach Powell. Here is Champion. Maynard putting the moves on Johnson. The floater is good.
I do think that is one of the things the Rockets need to do more of, is attack Taylor Johnson. He needs to be on the floor for this Hemel Storm team, and I think it's probably an area that the Rockets can definitely exploit.
Well, so far, Taylor Johnson in no real foul danger. 1 foul to his name thus far. Sam Newman driving. Kicks it out to Inga. Inga pulls up and strings one.
Yeah, we've only really seen Inga go catch and shoot so far. Really nice off the bounce there with the shot clock winding down.
Maynard pulls up and he answers back.
It looks like, as you were in the first half, the scoring has not let up. But the Rockets really need to get some stops here if they're going to change the balance of this game.
Absolutely, that's the thing. The momentum is all with Hemel right now, leading by 12 as Taylor Johnson comes off him last. Good defense from Mitch Clark, anticipating where Sam Newman was going to put that pass.
Yeah, Mitch Clark probably one of the Rockets' best defenders, but it's going to be really important that they now capitalise on that stop.
Clark finding Maynard. Maynard over Newman. Newman's desperation dive worked as Johnson has it. Tez Allen in and out. That looked good from where we were there, but the rim here had other ideas as Champion has it. Clark driving along the baseline. Champion sets his feet, and the ball hit the top of the framework, so that'll be out of bounds, and Hemel will get the ball.
Not sure Coach Mark Clark was very happy with Tez Allen's shot there. He was just letting him know about that quite early in the offense.
Mark Clark, who of course has had great success, most notably with the London Lions women in the Women's British Basketball League. Nelson Henry kicks it out. Sam Newman misses his three-point attempt, but again, Hemel get the ball back. 5 offensive rebounds for the Storm. Johnson, it's good defense from Clark, but better offense from Johnson.
Yeah, what a matchup. We said earlier on in the game that was going to be a really interesting matchup, and you have to say, well done, Taylor. That was an excellent shot there.
Clark looking to respond. Gets the mismatch there from Nelson Henry. Alexander. And that's too easy for Christian Alexander, but he blows the layup. Gets it at the 3rd attempt, though, and scores.
That's very Christian Alexander-esque for the Rockets.
And an offensive foul. Great court awareness there from Mitch Clark. Christian Alexander, though, on the floor, writhing in pain.
Thankfully, he's just got up, which is good news. And a timeout has been called.
Great noise here inside Loddon Valley on Mother's Day 2024. And Ben, we got our, even though we're not mothers, we got our trademark Haribo gifts as well, which was really nice, as the fans are now going to get treated to some Haribo sweets.
Yes.
If you're Mark Clark, though, Ben, what will you be telling your guys right now?
Well, I'm just looking into the timeout. Clearly, he's visibly frustrated because when the Storm have been really disciplined in running their offense, they've been really effective. But I think that's what he's seen, you know, early transition threes, you know, just playing pretty direct. And they've caused the Rockets a lot of problem when they've, you know, moved the basketball, used their actions. And that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that then leads to transition and the Rockets being able to score, you know, easily again. So he's put the hammer down and said, right, a little bit of discipline needed at this point, guys.
As it's raining Haribo sweets over the other end of the of where we are in the bleachers. A few of those fans there include some Reading Rockets wheelchair players as well. Of course, they defeated the Coventry Crusaders before this game today to remain perfect in the British Wheelchair Division 1 South League, 8-0. Clark, 8 to shoot. Alexander nearly travelled with it. Clark on the catch and shoot. That's short, that's off to the left. And away comes Johnson. Newman with a head of speed, and the ball goes out of bounds. It'll be Reading ball, as Nelson Henry thought that came off a Reading player last, but clearly a Reading ball.
Indeed, and I was going to say to you earlier on, John, how great is it to have, you were talking about Coach Mark Clark and Coach Samit Nurazade, two really well-decorated coaches within the BBL and Division 1.
Absolutely, as Newman goes for the steal, finds Johnson wide open for 3, and that's long. As the action just quickened up a little bit there as you were making your point.
No, absolutely. It's relentless as champion drives. I'll let you carry on, John.
Absolutely. Maynard from the wing rattles in a 3. And it's a single-figure game now. It's 54-63 in favour of the Storm, with 5:12 remaining in the third. And that's too easy for Nelson Henry, and a silly foul from Mitch Clark.
There we go, and Coach Mark Clark saying, it's not hard, guys, it's not hard. And you could see the actions that the Storm ran there really punished the Rockets' defence. And Nelson Henry ends up going to the line for the bonus.
But you talk about decorated British Basketball League players and coaches. We spoke about Mark Clark in the Women's British Basketball League. Of course, Coach Nurazade with great success with the Leeds Force back in the day as well.
Yes, absolutely. That was after his first tenure with the Rockets.
Yep.
And obviously, he won a number of trophies with the home team. And yeah, partnered up with Matt Newby with Leeds Force, as you say. And since then has been in Azerbaijan running the Azerbaijani basketball program with the national team, which is amazing. So yeah, two very, very experienced coaches. It's amazing to have them in Division 1.
Meanwhile, Darian Nelson Henry now moves on to 22 as he takes a seat on the bench. 9 of 15 from the field. What a performance he's had thus far. Pinnock to the races.
A nice finish at the rim by Reece Pinnock off the pick and roll.
Johnson blocked by Alexander, huge block. Ezzy nearly got the steal. That's 2 blocks now for Christian Alexander. Meeting Johnson at the rim.
Here's the interesting part, I think, now, John, is that with Nelson Henry off the floor, Christian Alexander's still in. Taylor Johnson was defending in the last possession. The Rockets really need to get that inside game going here if they are to capitalise on Nelson Henry being out of the game.
That's a huge point you've actually made as well. Hemel going sort of small here at the moment. You've got Tez Allen and Brendan Inger on the floor, but both like to play the wing guard positions. But we'll have to really go inside now as Alexander now being marked by Allen. Maynard wide open, a short 2.
Yeah, Maynard loves the elbow jumper and great poise and balance from Alexander to find him.
You'll see Christian Alexander getting a lot of the ball in this spell for sure as Pinnock gets the rebound off the miss from Inga. Pinnock, one of the quicker players in NBL Division 1, will go to the foul line.
And that's the momentum that Coach Nurizadeh was looking for. Stops and transition where his team has been excellent this season. And Coach Clark has had to respond as Nelson Henry comes back in.
Has to. But as Reece Pinnock goes to the line, if there is one minor flaw in Reece Pinnock's very stellar game, it's his foul shooting, 58% from the foul line this season. As he misses the first.
That's your fault, John.
Apologies, I guess.
Is that the opposite of commentators' curse?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I was just adding to it. I don't know. But either way, there you go. Splits the foul shots. But still, if there is one part of his game that he has tried to improve on, it's his foul shooting.
Absolutely.
Hawes. Allen driving a champion. Great defense from Pinnock. That's what he is known for, especially from his time at the Loughborough Riders.
Yeah, you can see the Rockets defending really hard now. Not that they certainly were not trying in the first half, but you can see the on-ball pressure is certainly up-tempo.
Reece Pinnock, 21.7 assists here last Sunday against the Thames Valley Cavaliers. And there's a 3 from Nelson Henry. We've seen him hit them in Hemel Storm uniforms over the last couple of months. That's his second 3 of the game. And an offensive foul has been called on Pinnock. So chance, a 10-point lead for the Storm, chance to stretch it even further.
Yeah, a bit of a nightmare for the Rockets. You do not want the opponent's 5-man knocking down the 3 and then an offensive foul.
Hemel 3rd place at the moment, 14 and 4. Reading 13 and 6. But great defense from Pinnock on Cavill Hawes, really putting some pressure on the young man. As Tez Allen turns around and misses everything over Champion. And the ball will go out of bounds as Veronez's effort's not good enough.
John, what I want to say, though, is what a great example that is for younger kids, that next play mentality. You could see Pinnock was frustrated with the offensive foul call, but then straight away locked in on defense and did a great job there. Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Cavill Hawes, the number 0, a product of the City of London Academy, only played around 2 or 3 minutes a game, mainly garbage time last season, but getting some good minutes, deserved minutes this season. As on the follow, Alexander from the miss from Champion.
Wow, what a tip in from Christian Alexander. It's something that the Rockets really do need if they're to remain interested in this game.
Hawes, who's a good 3-point shooter. There he is again for 3. That's off. Bassett Hawes getting some deserved minutes, not just today, but throughout the season. As Clark drives the alley-oop and Alexander the finish.
Yeah, Rockets finding a bit of rhythm as the arrears are reduced to just 6 now.
Izu to Newman. Ezzy wants it, but Nelson Henry will get it. It's a poor pass from Nelson Henry, but Dizu still has it. And Mitch Clark with the steal. And Mitch Clark gets it back and lays it in transition.
Yeah, brilliant from the Rockets. 3-on-2, converting 4-point ball game, and Rockets with the momentum.
16 points in transition for the Rockets, and a steal from Alexander. And away comes Clark, but it's stolen back by Ezzy. Here is Newman to Dizu, reverse, misses on the follow, Nelson Henry. And two former British Basketball League players just tangling a little bit in Nelson Henry and Lewis Champion.
Very respectful of each other.
Absolutely,
though,
yeah.
Which is awesome
and
to
that's
see.
what you like to see. Two people who have been there, seen it, done it in this game, particularly in British basketball circles. As Cavell Hawes comes out, Brendan Inga checks back in. 2-3 zone here for Hemel. Final 90 seconds of the third. Maynard puts it in.
Yeah, Maynard's finding the high post really profitable for him at the moment, especially against the zone.
Newman, Nelson Henry. A wild hook layup is no good. Pinnock stops but airballs his 6-footer.
They're always the toughest shots to make. You've got to have incredible touch.
Dizu with a full head of steam misses the 2. Inga a 3 wide open. Here comes Pinnock. Pinnock gets bumped, misses the layup. Good defense from Nelson Henry. Final 35 seconds. Inga. And Brendan Inga will go to the line. A furious pace being played here by both teams.
Yeah, my goodness, another catch-your-breath moment, I think. And this is where the Rockets have got to really be a bit better in terms of when they do get stops, that balance between playing in transition and playing in the half court. They've done what they needed to do. They've chipped away at the score. They've got the game close. But what they don't want to do is turn the ball over and have early missed shots, which will lead to Hemel scores.
Brendan Inga averaging 13 points a game this season. The 24-year-old in his first season with the Storm. As he makes them both, and the Storm leads 73-67 with 34 seconds remaining. So a potential 2-for-1 for Reading here. But a poor pass from Powell. Mitch Clark did well to get it. Champion puts it in. Big 3, Lewis Champion.
What a shot as time winds down.
Shot clock is off. So Hemel will get the last possession of the third. Final seconds. Tipped away. And Clark will heave. And Clark will hit the backboard and nothing else. But a better third quarter from the Reading Rockets as they trail the Hemel Storm 73-70, but it's all to play for them.
Well, it certainly is, and it was a 12-point game at half-time, and we said that the Rockets really needed to stem the flow, and they have indeed, holding the Storm to just, I think, 16 points in that third quarter, if I'm correct,
Yeah, that's
John.
it, yeah.
And I think that definitely was the key. They've kind of sped up the Storm, but also they've managed to get some defensive stops, which has allowed transition, and they've also, I think, punished the zone as well.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, it was good to see that as the players were coming off. Sam Newman was talking to Mike Darlow, the Hemel assistant, saying, look, no more two, they're making shots. So they'll be thinking about whether to stay in the zone or not. Because I think that's something that's enabled the Rockets. Rockets have executed really well against the zone.
Absolutely, and in the final 5 minutes of the third quarter, Reading outscoring Hemel 16-7. But more importantly, Hemel, who had a 30-17 second quarter, have been pegged back by the hosts, who took that third quarter, as you mentioned, 25-16.
Yeah, they've managed to keep their scoring momentum going. I mean, they obviously had a quieter second quarter, just scoring 17 points. But yeah, they've shot the ball well. They're still shooting a really good percentage, 50% from beyond the arc. And another interesting statistic, John, is that it's been 39 assists in the game. It shows that the teams are really moving the ball and sharing the ball well.
Absolutely, and as you've mentioned in the first couple of quarters, and now I'm going to steal it from you, 23 pointers have been made in this game as well. But Hemel are 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Reading 4 for 5, so just shows you just how open this game has gone. That both teams have not even, there's only been 10 free throws attempted in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that both teams will look at, I'm sure, moving forward. But we are up and running on this fourth quarter.
Absolutely, we'll probably see a lot more free throws in the fourth quarter if this game is any closer. As Mitch Clark attacking the teeth of the Storm and getting the score.
Yeah, that's a really good opening to the quarter for the Rockets. 1-point ball game.
Johnson. 1-point game as mentioned. Inga nearly blocked by Alexander. Great degree of difficulty.
I was just about to say, John, damn, that was a finish and a half. Wow.
Champion. Powers wide open, decides to go inside, and to great success.
Yeah, that's probably going to concern Coach Mark Clark, because that's twice the Rockets have arrived to the rim pretty easily. So, yeah, let's see.
Johnson himself finds a bit of an open lane, and a foul has been called. A travel actually has been called on Taylor Johnson, who looks very surprised at that call.
On first look, I did actually think it was a travel. But yeah, we need the replay for that, I think.
Yeah.
John?
Champion. Chance for Reading to take the lead here. Champion gets it back. It's a risky pass, but it finds Powell. 8 on the shot clock, and Powell travelled with that. Lifted his pivot foot and then moved again. And
yes, and I can confirm that definitely was a travel.
Yeah, that was definitely a travel, and the Hemel Storm fans certainly confirming that, all standing to applaud that one.
Will be interesting, John, because obviously with the Storm, with such an intense game last night, it's tough playing back-to-back. So I wonder if that will affect them in this fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, you've got to wonder. But so far they look up to the challenge, as Sam Newman's layup won't count. That was after the whistle.
I think that's quite smart as well from the Storm. Newman's been relatively quiet in terms of scoring so far in this game, but taking the ball by the horns and doing what he does really well by attacking the rim off advantage.
And a whistle has gone, a loose ball foul. An offensive foul has been called. Not sure who that was on, maybe you would know.
I think Jack Burnell pushed Lewis Champion. And Lewis Champion is one for selling those, that's for sure. So, yeah, I'll have to see.
Okay.
I think I can look at it back from the delay that we have on the screen here, so I'll get back to you on that, all right?
Well, Champion, I'm unsure if he's a WWE fan, but some great theatrics nonetheless. 8 to shoot for the Rockets, as Maynard has it. Maynard's got a dance here. Reading with the shot clock winding down. That hit the rim, but Taylor Johnson with the loose ball. Burnell, a 3, that's short, and Alexander with the rebound. 7 rebounds for Christian Alexander to go with 16 points. Clark, Zach Powell, driving at Inga, the extra pass, 4 to shoot, Clark, an elbow jumper, gets it to go.
I've thoroughly enjoyed this game. It's been brilliant, and it's great to see. I always love a bit of a comeback.
Absolutely. Rockets now have the lead, trailing by as many as 14. And now Rockets back in the ascendancy.
Rockets back in the ascendancy, but Darius Nelson-Henry coming back in with Tez Allen, and those two that have caused some issues so far this evening. None more so than
Nelson Henry,
with
absolutely.
27 points.
Yeah.
Incredible outing.
And while it's incredible that the defensive side, he's not actually been as big a part as he has offensively. Here is Newman. Tez Allen. Nelson Henry. Back to Allen. And that'll be a shot clock violation. Maybe Tez Allen needed to just take that shot. He was open.
Yeah, shot clock awareness was a little bit low for the Storm just then. But going back to Nelson Henry, I mean, you can see what a player the Storm have got with Hakeem Siller out this afternoon. He's really stepped up to fulfil that. And I would say arguably they've got the best front court in the league.
Maynard nearly travelled with it. Excuse me, Maynard has it. Powell nearly travelled with it. Alexander backing down Nelson Henry. Tough from Alexander. And the Reading fans letting Nelson Henry know it's a very intimate atmosphere here at Loddon Valley. The fans and the players very close by. Here is Maynard. Maynard blows the layup. And a foul has been called on Sam Newman. And a timeout has been called by Mark Clark. That's a third foul on Newman. Reading lead by 3, and if we get this result today, the two teams that will be beaming from ear to ear will be the Trailblazers and the Rebels.
Yes, and Matt Shaw can send us a thank you card or something because he's very generous like that. But no, you're absolutely right, John. I mean, this is the great thing I think about the league this year. There's two parts. First of all, I think most teams can play against most teams.
Yep.
You know, we've had what we would term upsets, but there's also been some really surprising results. You know, the City of Birmingham Rockets, for example, they are really flying at the moment. They had a big lull in the middle of the season, but they're fighting for their lives for that eighth spot. But as you say, like, I think that at the top of the league as well, like, it puts a spanner in the works and almost makes it a two-horse race, but it's not over. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of time left in this game, and as we saw yesterday, the Storm starting 10-zip down. You know, they blew their opponents away in the first quarter, and
1,000%.
got the win against you know, the number 1 seed, as it were.
And next week, NBL Live cameras will be at Loughborough University, where the Loughborough Riders will host the Essex Rebels. Huge game at the top of the NBL1 table. That will be before the Kit King Trophy final between the Bradford Dragons and Derby Trailblazers. We'll talk about that more in a minute, as Maynard misses the 2 off the pass from Clark. Newman loses the ball and it goes out of bounds. Newman had his head down, very uncharacteristic of him, had his head down, was looking at nothing but almost the basket, and then just lost the ball.
Yes, indeed, and I'm not sure if Coach Clark will make a change now. He's looking to sub, but uncharacteristic of Sam Newman for sure.
Yeah, it's not something we see from one of the more underrated players in Division 1, as the pass from Zach Powell goes straight out of bounds, intended for Alexander. It was a bit low for the 6'9" Alexander.
Yeah, and I think what I would say is, you know, these players are human as well. Like, Sam Newman has done a fantastic job. Zach Powell gets a little bit excited.
Yeah,
that's what that is. It's not a good pass, and that's something that both teams are going to need to tidy up in these last 6 minutes of play.
Getting to the business end of what has been an incredible encounter here at Loddon Valley. Tez Allen is wide open, misses the 3. Dizu with the rebound, collected and blocked by Alexander. Another block for Christian Alexander. Clark will slow down. Maynard driving. Maynard is fouled, and Elijah Maynard, who has been incredible over the last few weeks for the Rockets, averaging just short of 12 points a game, will go to the foul line.
A couple of things there. I think that's, you know, the interior presence of Alexander means you can't help off him as much. Mitch Clark as well, so good to see Maynard driving to the rim and actually getting fouled. And as we said, John, not many free throws shot in this game so far.
No, there has not been. But I feel, and we've said this at the top before the fourth quarter started, we'll probably be seeing a lot more trips to the foul line as this game edges closer to its conclusion. As Maynard misses the second, and there's bodies all over the floor as the possession arrow goes the way of the Hemel Storm. As Sam Newman will check in, Matthew Deezer will take a seat.
I think that's pretty good coaching there from Mark Clark, just pressing the reset button for Sam Newman. Back into the game. He knows what he can do.
Well, Sam Newman, was part of the unbeatable quadruple Hemel team last season, 41-0 in all competitions, and he was certainly one of the leaders in that team that featured Taylor Johnson, Hakeem Siller, Aaron Rye. Of course, Aaron Rye has gone on to the British Basketball League and is going to be part of his first All-Star game next week as a member of the Cheshire Phoenix. But here is Newman back on the ball. Finds Johnson. That's a wild pass, but Nelson Henry collects. Inga off the glass. Bit of a scrappy play for Hemel, but it worked.
It certainly was, but the Rockets seemed to sort of stop for a second there, and the Storm punished them.
Clark driving his way inside. Maynard, good defense from Johnson. 8 to shoot. Maynard a three. Short. And now go out of bounds, and Hemel will get the ball. 2-point game, 4:51 remaining.
Indeed, and the Storm with the offensive core. Let's have a look what they're going to try to do.
Newman driving inside to Nelson Henry. That's great basketball. Simple but effective, and certainly put a smile on Coach Mark Clark's face as the game is tied now at 79 and Coach Nurizadeh calls timeout.
Yes, and not a surprise really.
Yeah.
It's, as you said, pretty simple basketball. A couple of pin down screens into pick and roll, and Nelson Henry found himself wide open under the basket. That's been a real successful offense for the Storm so far. But yeah, tied ball game with 4.5 minutes left, and it'll be interesting to see what both coaches will say during this timeout.
Well, certainly, if you're a fan of the Derby Trailblazers or the Essex Rebels, you'll certainly be hoping for a Reading Rockets victory here today. And as we mentioned, next week it will be an NBL Live double from Loughborough University as the Riders take on the Rebels in what will be a really key game for the Essex Rebels. And then following on from that, it's the second trophy to be decided of the season as the Bradford Dragons and Derby Trailblazers meet in the Kit King Trophy final.
You're going to be a busy man next weekend, then.
It would seem this way, yes.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so thrilled for the Bradford Dragons and Chris Meller. I just love the fact that he, year after year after year, has always got competitive rosters, coaches his team really well, gets them playing really well. So it's awesome to see them in a national final.
Absolutely, and Derby Trailblazers in the final as well. And of course, these two teams were semi-finalists in the Kit King Trophy this season, both lost out and meeting today. So we'll see what happens in the final 4 minutes and 30 seconds as Champion does well to keep the ball. Maynard for three. And again, it's getting very scrappy, very physical in these last few moments.
Certainly is. Maynard's missed the last couple of threes though, and
absolutely, yeah.
The Rockets have been fortunate enough to keep it alive with the offensive rebound.
Reading 10 for 23 from downtown in this game. As the finish from Champion, going all the way. Reading have only hit 2 3-pointers in this second half, compared to 8 for 15 in the first. Newman, nice pass to Johnson, the extra pass, Nelson Henry.
Certainly was. Mitch Clark was doing a tremendous job on Taylor Johnson, but Taylor Johnson finding the backdoor cut with the dish. Nice play.
Champion can't respond. He was looking for Alexander, but decided to go for the shot. Johnson on the spin. Offensive foul has been called. That's a tough one.
For me, John, possibly a no call because did the defender do anything wrong? No. The spin, I don't know. It's a tough one.
Well, looking at the playback, I mean, I'm no referee, and the referees obviously they have real time. They call it as they have to call it as they see it. But from the second look, it looked like Clark was moving his feet a little bit. But either way, it is Reading ball. 3:55 remaining, 3:35 remaining, and we're tied at 81.
Well, you can see Lewis Champion's been well trained in terms of mopping the floor. His mum will be proud.
Well, it is Mother's Day,
Absolutely.
so it is Mother's Day, so he's trying to prove himself. Absolutely. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Here is Champion. Inside to Alexander. Bit of a mismatch there, but Powell has it back. 7 on the shot clock. Clark nearly got it to go, but another offensive rebound. Now that hit the rim. That hit the rim.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they're just going to double check stuff here.
I'm going to look. I wasn't sure on that one. My assistant coach Mike Darlow's very sure it hit the rim. Of course, he's giving me the look.
Michael Darlow giving us the look here. But either way, and another foul has been called, this time on Clark. Maybe the offensive foul and the shot clock violation cancelled each other out, maybe.
Maybe so, but then a call that really I don't think needed to be made, to be honest with you, but there we go.
Johnson, Newman puts up a 3, no good. Sam Newman, who struggled last night from downtown, is 1 for 3 here today. He has 10 assists though. Champion misses a 3 of his own.
Yeah, both teams a little bit tentative on the offensive end at the moment.
Nelson Henry, nice pass, but Newman couldn't hang on to it. That was unfortunate. That was a good look from Nelson Henry, and Newman just couldn't quite hang on.
Yeah, nice play from both teams. Nice little get action from the Storm, and Newman was chased, so curled it, but Nelson Henry couldn't quite find him.
Tied at 81. Powell, Champion, no good. Champion will get it back off Clark. Champion to Powell inside, shot clock winding down. Maynard for 3. No good, and this time Hemel get the ball back. Taylor Johnson. Oh, we've seen him hit there many times.
Shots are just not dropping at the moment, are they? Incredible.
It's been nearly 2 minutes since we had a score here. Fans at Loddon Valley on their feet. Clark. Stolen by Johnson. Newman comes up with it. Tez Allen with it. Here is Nelson Henry to Johnson. Nelson Henry. Inga. No good for his 3.
What a pass, though, by Nelson Henry. And we've only got 80 seconds left in the game.
Nearly 3 minutes since we last had a score. Clark. Nice pass inside. Champion can't hang on. It's a Hemel ball. Veronese, who was the hero last night, coming off the bench in the final 2 seconds to break Derby hearts.
Interestingly enough, the Hemel Storm 2-3 zone doing its job, really stifling the Rockets in these last couple of minutes.
What a game we have on the Basketball England YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you've enjoyed this, there's plenty more as the season nears its business end. Nelson Henry inside, gets it to go. 51.6 seconds remaining.
I have to say that really odd defense from the Rockets there. They switched the kind of first horn screen, which gave Nelson Henry an incredible mismatch inside, and the Storm punished that. But timeout has been called by Coach Nurizadeh, and he'll need to get something ready, either to play against the 2-3 zone or man-to-man.
And that broke the over 3-minute cold spell for both teams, as there's only been 21 combined points in this fourth quarter alone, as Nelson Henry now moves on to 33 points, chuck in 3 rebounds and an assist for good measure. What a game Nelson Henry has had, and he will definitely look to carry the burden in the final 51.8 seconds. But for Reading, nothing to panic about, just execute your offense.
Yes, plenty of time left in the game. The Storm are in the penalty, so the worst outcome for the Rockets, you know, could be 2 shots here.
Yeah.
Coach Nurizadeh is elected to move the ball to the front court, so they've got a 14-second shot clock. So there's still probably 3 or 4 possessions left in this game, with a timeout left for both teams.
51.68 seconds, remaining in what has been an incredible encounter. Reading, who fought back from 14 points down. Hemel's biggest lead, Reading's biggest lead has been 4 points, so Hemel have had the lead for the majority. Here is Clark, champion. To the shoot, Clark misses the 2, and the rebound by Brandon Inga. Thompson is fouled, and an unsportsmanlike foul on Taylor Johnson by Elijah Maynard. So that's 2 shots and possession.
It is. I think it's a tough one. Like, I understand what the officials are saying, but they also should know the context of the game is the Rockets are trying to foul. And I think the issue is that in prior games, when teams have tried to foul at the end of the game, it's not been called. So I think there's that fine balance. Anyway, 2 shots is the outcome, as you say, John.
Taylor Johnson, a 75% foul shooter, misses the second, but Hemel will get the ball back with 32.1 remaining. Hemel up by 3, so a big possession this for both teams.
Oh, most definitely. You feel if Hemel score here, that's probably the ball game. It's a 3-point advantage for them. The Rockets really, really do need to get a stop here.
Newman, big offense this for the Storm. Newman drives, a 3 for Ezzy, hits nothing but the top of the backboard, and away comes Maynard, and a foul has been called. Lewis Champion is pleading for an unsportsmanlike foul. I mean, there was no one ahead of Elijah Maynard, no one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, consistently wise, that should be an
Zach Powell, excuse me.
Yeah, that should be an unsportsmanlike foul. He was, you know, in the open court there, no attempt to play the ball.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the Rockets might feel a bit hard done by on that one.
Zach Powell was the only player who misses the first. He was the one at a clear run to the basket. Zach Powell, an 83% foul shooter, averaging 10 points a game off the bench, makes the second. So it's a 1-possession game. And Reading foul Sam Newman, who's a 70% foul shooter. Reading now in the penalty.
But you see what I mean there, John? Like,
yeah.
The Rockets went to foul straight away. And it's taken almost a second and a half off the clock. So yeah, that's the only thing I would say in this scenario. But yeah, 2-point game. Newman on the line.
Shot clock has been turned off, so Sam Newman needs to make both of these. makes the first. That's a big free throw. And an even bigger one coming up. Otherwise, Reading, who are a 37.7% three-point shooting team, might have something, but it's now a two-possession game with 15 seconds left. Timeout, Coach Nurizadeh.
Yeah, that was a big two shots from Sam Newman, and that's why Coach Clark showed trust in him late in this fourth quarter. He's knocked down two shots, and it will be interesting also to see what the Storm do here. Taylor Johnson was saying we should foul. That was when the deficit was at 3, so the Rockets can't get a three-point shot off. But you know, it's a bit of a lottery. I think the Storm have got it within their grasp. They only have to, even if they give up 2, they have a timeout remaining and possession. So yeah, the Rockets, they really need something here.
15 seconds left. 4-point game, and assistant coach Michael Darlow, who's been there, seen it, done it as a player and obviously as an assistant coach, can't handle 2 close games this weekend. He doesn't want back-to-backs anymore.
What more does he want?
I know.
Enjoyable close games, and you know, if he gets this win, that's 2 wins.
The ungrateful man.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I'm expecting a text message at any moment from him actually after the game, if he heard that. Might need to block him a little for a few days. All the momentum though with the Hemel Storm, 15 seconds left, and Reading need a very quick bucket here. A lot of time, but definitely time on Hemel's side. Jenkins puts up a 3, and he hits it! 1-point game, timeout, Mark Clark!
If I'm honest with you, John, I was thinking, what on earth is Jenkins doing? But my goodness, he's come off the bench, he's hardly been in this second half, and he's knocked down the 3-ball to make it a 1-point game.
Could we have another chapter to this story? It's a 1-point game, 86-85, 10.1 seconds left. And even if Reading foul and Hemel make both free throws, there is a chance that Reading could take this to overtime.
Yeah, so Coach Nurizadeh's timeout has to be looking to the offense as well, because he's out of timeouts. So that will definitely be something that he will be talking to his players about during this period of time. They need to obviously foul first of all, ensure they do that in the right way so it's not another unsportsmanlike and not much time comes off the clock. And then thinking about what they will do in terms of trying to either tie the game or win the game, or who knows what will happen.
Well, only 4 seconds was 3.9 seconds, if you really want to be precise, was taken off when Jenkins hit that 3. So pretty good clock management there from the Rockets. It was a wild desperation heave, and to be honest, when you're down 4, that's all you can do, really. It's a 1-point game, though. Hemel are not home and dry yet. Hemel looking to improve to 15-4 and consolidate 3rd spot. Newman will inbound. And straight away, 7/10 of a second was taken off. And that's a smart foul from the Rockets. And as a result, Tez Allen, who is an 85% foul shooter, will go to the line.
Oh dear, not so good then. Well, if you're a Rockets fan, that is. If you're a Storm fan, you're probably in safe hands. But you know, it's in the clutch, right? It's in the clutch. 2 games down over the weekend. Let's see.
Tez Allen makes the first. Hemel Storm, a 68% foul shooting team for the season. Allen makes the second. No timeouts for the Rockets. Final possession. Jenkins, no good, tipped in, but with 2.5 seconds left, a foul has been called. 5/10 of a second knocked off the clock. Reading have no timeouts left.
Gosh, what a game we have been treated to, John. It's been absolutely enthralling, and it's still not over. But I think with 2 seconds left, it's going to be a really hard ask for the Rockets to tie the game at this stage.
If you're Tez Allen, who now makes the first,
do you miss the second?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does he intentionally miss the second?
Yeah, because it's got to be a heave if that's the case.
Remember, Reading out of timeouts. Tez Allen makes the second. 3-point game. It's got to be a heave from Jenkins from half court. No good, and Hemel survive. In what was a roller coaster of emotions. But Hemel's Storm come up trumps against the Reading Rockets, 90-87. In what was a very fast-paced, scrappy but exciting encounter in the first half. Physical, and is still enthralling in the second, decided in the last seconds.
Yeah, most definitely. And you have to say, could this be, John, could this be a turning point in the title race this season? Hemel with 2 massive victories this weekend against 2 of the top 4 teams. To keep themselves really interested at the top of NBL Division 1. It's going to be an enthralling end to this season, and they should be congratulated. I think coming to Reading is always a tough place, and they will go away with an extremely hard-fought victory. For the Rockets, it's a tough one. It was one that probably slipped away, and they now slipped to 7 losses, and that game against Newcastle University is going to be huge.
Absolutely huge,
in the sense of that could be what decides 4th place, and that is a long, long journey.
Absolutely.
In the 5th place playoff.
And for the Hemel Storm, they next travel to the City of Birmingham Rockets themselves, fighting for 8th spot in NBL1. Then they are at home to Nottingham. The big game on the 30th of March sees them travel to the Essex Rebels. What a game that will be.
It certainly will, and as you say, first of all, they've got to overcome the City of Birmingham Rockets.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough task in itself. One of the, I would say, the most formed teams, if you like it, in the league at the minute, just because of the couple of wins that they've managed to string together. But yeah, I mean, it's all to play for. Just love it. That is what I love about the end of the season when lots of teams are competing for the title.
Absolutely,
it's great than just being a one-horse race. So,
absolutely.
And that's also the Storm showed why they're champions, why they were so successful last year. They have really ground out today's win, and yeah, as I say, a big congratulations to them, because that was not an easy game for sure.
Darian Nelson-Henry leading all scorers with 33 points on 14 for 21 shooting. Brendan Inga with 21 and 9. And Taylor Johnson with 15 points on 6 for 10 shooting for the Reading Rockets. They were led by Christian Alexander, who had a double-double of 20 points and 10 rebounds. Elijah Maynard adding 18 to his tally, but for Hemel, they shot the ball consistently, 51% from the field as opposed to 47% from the Rockets. And it is the Hemel Storm who survive and come away with a win today. What a day of basketball it has been here at Loddon Valley. We saw the Reading Rockets wheelchair team defeat the Coventry Crusaders, and Hemel have edged out Reading here today in NBL1 action. Ben has left me on the commentary booth, and he is with the man of the moment, Hemel's Darian Nelson-Henry.
I'm here with Darian Nelson-Henry. Darian, I'm not sure you were ready for this when you came out of retirement. 2 massive games for your team this weekend, a 33-point outing this evening. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. I mean, probably not as good a shape as I used to be, but I'm working on it. Playoffs are right around the corner, and we're facing a lot of top of the table teams right now, so probably a good time to be hitting my stride in the D1.
Absolutely, and you've come into a team that's had a lot of success in the last couple of years, obviously, especially last year. How have you adapted to that, and what do you think your experience has brought to the team?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great team. I'm just trying to fit in. That's something I've always tried to do when I've been joining new teams. You know, I bounced around Europe for a while, is find my groove, don't let it hinder anybody else, trying to be complementary instead of a focal point, and just finding that balance with these guys has been a pleasure working with them, and it's been a work in progress, but I think we're starting to find it, which is great.
And as I say, 2 big wins this weekend. That puts you in a real good spot for the, you know, challenging the title with the Rebels and the Trailblazers with 3 losses, you guys with 4 losses. Something you're, I'm sure, really looking forward to trying to capture again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anywhere I go and try and, you know, hang a couple banners, and it's no different with Hemel. It's going to be a long process, you know. Playoffs is never easy and crazy stuff can happen, but we've all been through it a couple times now, and hopefully a steady head will get us through.
And I have to ask you this before I go. Retirement, you've come out of retirement. Will we see you again next season, perhaps?
Yeah, TBD, we'll see. I'm a go with the flow kind of guy, so I'll leave it at that.
Great, but it's great to have you back on the floor. Congratulations on your win this evening.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'll hand back to John.
Appreciate it, thank you.
So thank you, Darian, thank you, Ben. And that ends today's broadcast. Or at least we think it ends today's broadcast. Our camera operators are trying to get Reading players as well. But Hemel consolidate 3rd place in NBL Division 1. And with just a couple of games left, 4 games in fact now for the Hemel Storm, they will look to strengthen their place as they face the City of Birmingham Rockets in the Midlands next. And we have Elijah Maynard, who is with Ben.
Yeah, I'm here with Elijah Maynard. Elijah, really tough result, 3-point loss to the Storm. How are you feeling after that one?
A little disappointed, but I mean, if we look into the entire game, we gave too many things up. We had a 12-point lead deficit, that we were down. So if we cut those out, maybe the game would become different results or something like that. We don't know. Yeah,
57 points conceded in the first half. What do you feel, what did you do at halftime and say at halftime to just change that? Because in the 3rd quarter, you held your opponents to just 13, which was great.
Yeah, limiting them to 1 shot and securing that defensive rebound. First half, they were getting a lot of offensive rebounds and things like that. So we just limited them 1 shot and then got the rebound.
And a rough week for you as well. I know you've been, off practice, sick. How are you feeling this evening?
Oh, I'm exhausted right now. But yeah, I'm going to rest up and be ready by next week. Yeah.
And just finally, obviously a loss today, but still in the hunt for a top 4 spot. What do you feel this team can achieve for the rest of this season?
That's the main goal right now, is securing that 4th spot, just so we get home court advantage. But taking it game at a time, that's the main thing for us. Next week we have Newcastle, so we're going to prepare this week for that and hopefully get the 4th seed.
Well, hard luck today, but rest up. Thanks very much indeed for
you.
coming to speak to us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Elijah. Thanks, Ben. And that ends our action here at Loddon Valley today, where the Hemel Storm have come up trumps 90-87 over the Reading Rockets earlier. The Reading Rockets wheelchair team defeated the Coventry Crusaders to remain top of the Division 1 South Division. But again, my thanks to Ben Fisher. I've been John Hobbs. Have a great Mother's Day wherever you are across the country, and good evening to you all.